Hello and welcome to Adriana Asana Yoga. I'm Adriana and my yoga classes are all about connection. Connection to that higher self, or you might call it your intuition. We move together in rhythm with our breath on the mat. We move slowly with awareness, leaning into poses that feel good to us, pausing and breathing if we're unsure, and backing away, releasing from poses that don't feel good to us. And hopefully we take this practice off the mat as well and lead in this way in our lives, leaning into situations that feel good, pausing when we're unsure, collecting more data, and stepping away from situations that don't feel good to us, stepping away from people that don't feel good to us, and really creating lives that we can show up fully as ourselves comfortably and with ease. So today's class is a yin class. Like I said, we're going to be holding the poses for a little longer. And why don't we begin now by lying down on our backs. You can bring your arms up over your head, stretching out here, full body stretch, pointing and flexing the toes. Taking some deep breaths. Bring your knees into your chest here, making a tight ball. You can bring your forehead towards your knees for a moment. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, releasing your head down and turning to one side. From the fetal position, gently lift yourself up, back into a seated position. Again, grounding through those sits bones, finding a comfortable seated position for yourself, rolling your shoulders down and back. And we'll bring some attention to our breath, closing our eyes and reflecting inward here. Noticing your inhales. Are they deep or shallow in this moment? And noticing your exhales. Can you feel the fabric of your shirt against your belly and your chest? You can wiggle left and right in your hips here, bringing some attention to the rest of the physical body. Do you feel stiff? Do you feel loose? Do you feel heavy today, light in the body? Is there a point of pain calling your attention right now? Just notice. Check in with the mind. What is the story today? Are you being kind to yourself, kind to others? Are you thinking clearly today? Do you feel present? Do you feel a little foggy in the brain? Just notice. I read somewhere that yoga is the practice of non-judgmental self-examination. So just notice these things, try not to judge. And finally, we bring attention to our emotions. What words would you use to describe them right now? How do you feel emotionally? You can bring your hand to your chest, over your heart, breathe in. Say it to yourself and exhale, release it. Big breath in. Exhale, release. And one more time, deep breath in. Exhale, release. We are not our thoughts, we are not our feelings, we are not our emotions. These things are always changing. Wonderful. From here, we'll take our left hand down to the ground. Breathe in, lifting our right hand up. Breathe out, stretching over to the left here. We're going to start with some subtle movement before we move into holding the poses. And from here, we breathe in, switching our hands, right hand down, left hand up. Breathe out, stretching over to the right. Breathe in, switching your hands. Breathe out, stretching over. Pay attention to your sits bones here. The one's going to try and come up. Make sure they're both grounded. Breathe in to come up. Breathe out to stretch over. Again, paying attention to this other sits bone. It's going to come up a little. It's a sign that you're stretching a little too far. Breathe in to come up. Breathe out to stretch over. Breathe in to come up. And just begin flowing with your breath here. Breathing out to stretch over. Breathing in to come up. Breathing out to stretch over. You can close your eyes and really move in rhythm with your own breath. Breathing in to come up. Breathing out to stretch over. Using that full breath to come up. And that full breath to stretch over. Breathing in to come up, breathing out to stretch over. Maybe here we stay for a moment looking up and down as we breathe. Seeing how that changes the stretch. Breathe in to come up. Doing the same thing on the other side. We take a moment to pause, looking up and down as we breathe. Noticing how it changes the stretch. And then breathe in, coming up one more time to a neutral spine. Well done. We'll do some neck circles here. Breathe in to look up, breathe out, circling down and around. Moving slowly, breathing in to come up, breathing out, down and around. Breathing in to come up. You can close your eyes if that feels good. Down and around. And switch your circles, breathing in to come up the other way. Breathing out, down and around. Try to keep that straight spine here as we're sitting. Breathing in to come up, breathing out. And this time, let your head, your neck hang here. Chin towards your chest. You can even interlace your hands behind your head for some extra weight. But we're not pulling, we're just using the body weight. Breathing here. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale. Release your hands down. And you can just look gently left and right after holding your neck for so long. We want to be really gentle with it. And we'll come on to our hands and knees next. If you have any sensitivity in your knees, it might feel good to fold the mat twice and put your knees on top of that padded spot. And we're putting our wrists underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. We're going to flow into some cat-cows here. Micro bend in your elbows. We'll breathe in, tilting at the pelvis, bringing the belly to the floor, shoulders away from the ears. Breathe out, arching the back, tucking the chin and tucking the tailbone. Breathe in, belly to the floor again. Looking up, opening the chest here. Breathe out, arching your back, chin towards your chest, tucking that tailbone. Breathe in, belly to the floor, shoulders away from the ears. Breathe out, arching your back. Breathe in, belly to the floor. Breathe out, arching your back. And you can move in this way to the rhythm of your own breath, closing your eyes, belly to the floor as you breathe in, and as you exhale, arching your back. You can even bop your hips left to right, finding some movement of your own that feels good. Maybe making some circles here, one way and the other way. This is really good for your wrists as well, stretching them out. Then we'll come back to a neutral position, open up our knees as wide as the mat, big toes together, and bring our hips to our heels, coming into a wide-legged child's pose. If you're able to, bring your forehead to the mat, or you can stack your fists and bring your forehead to your fists. And we're going to begin the yin poses. Once again, these will be held for a longer period of time, 3 to 6 minutes. At the beginning, please make any adjustments you need, and then find some stillness, some quiet. I love this position, especially kind of like we're surrendering to the earth, to the ground here. I love to imagine breathing in the earth energy, filling me up completely, grounding me, and exhaling and imagining releasing my fears, my tensions, any blocks down into the ground. For a bit of a variation, you can bend at your elbows, your hands above your head into a prayer position, and walk your elbows out a little further, intensifying the stretch in the shoulders. If there are any noises that you find a little distracting in the room, try to look at them as a challenge. Try to keep your attention, your focus in your body and your breath, and releasing down into the ground. We can release our hands down here. And before we get up, just massage your forehead back and forth against the mat, slowly, gently. And we'll breathe in, coming up out of this position, stretching out your hip left and right, and walking your legs back and coming on to our bellies here, setting up for a Sphinx pose next. In Sphinx pose, we set up our hands, palms facing down in the shape of an 11, elbows underneath our shoulders here. I have to ask you guys a question. Can you hear the music of my neighbor?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, that really helps me. I can definitely hear it. It's so distracting. Oh my goodness. But less so if I know that it's not being heard by you. Okay. So palms facing down, and we're really grounding here into the pubic bone and the elbows here. And usually we get the elbows right up underneath the shoulders, but we're gonna walk it out about a hand just to soften up a bit, because we're gonna be holding this position a little longer. And just looking forward with a soft gaze, or you can even close your eyes. And find some softness in this position. Still grounding in the elbows, but soft in the hands here. Soft in the feet here. Soft in the face. It's nice to do a body scan in yoga, so let's do that now together. We can start at the top of the head, the face, noticing if we're scrunching up in a funny position. Can we let it go? Are we tensing the jaw at all? Can we release that? Is your tongue pressed to the roof of your mouth? Can you let it go as if you were smiling? Perhaps smile for a moment here to yourself. Moving down, checking the shoulders. This position really does tense up your shoulders, but can you let it go a little more? Can you create a little more space between the shoulders and the ears? Your hands, can you soften them? The arms a little bit. The legs, the glutes, are they clenched? Can you let them go? The thighs, the calves. Shake out your feet a little at the ankle, the toes. Just releasing any unnecessary tension we may be holding in this position. You can release your head towards the mat here, keeping the rest of the chest held up. And breathe in, lifting the head up to look forward for just a moment longer, and then we'll release. This can be really intense in the shoulders. Bring your arms together and let your head fall in your on your arms. This is called crocodile pose. Really nice release after the Sphinx pose. If you feel any tension in your shoulders at all, just walk your arms out a little further. And if your mind wanders while we're here, just again and again, bring it back to the breath, bring it back to the sensations in your body, something in this present moment. From here, we'll breathe in, bringing our arms underneath us, pushing ourselves back up, and coming into a seated position. We'll bring our feet together. As heels closer to the pelvis is a deeper stretch, coming into a Baddha Konasana. And your heels away from the pelvis is a little more passive. I would suggest that for a yin class since we will be holding it for longer. Again, ground through those sits bones. You can grab the ankles to pull your body up over your hips here, circling your shoulders down and back away from the ears. Breathe in. And as we exhale, we'll walk our hands forward. And when you feel a nice stretch, begin to arch that back. And begin to release that head, that neck down. Take this first 30 seconds to adjust as needed. Remember, we'll be holding this for about 3 minutes. So make any adjustments now and then find your stillness. Take one more deep breath in this position. And as you exhale, we'll slowly lift ourselves up and out. Ooh, very slowly. You can lean back, keeping your legs bent, and let your knees fall left and right here. Just bringing some movement slowly back into the legs after holding for so long. Wonderful. Next, we'll stretch out that left leg and we'll cross the right leg over, bringing it to the left side of the left thigh. You'll hug it in with that left arm and take your right hand behind you, and you can look over the right shoulder. So you should feel a nice stretch in this right glute. And we can stay here if this feels good, but I'm gonna give you some alternatives as well to go a little deeper in this pose. We could also bend this left foot. And if that is still not enough, we could stack these two legs. Gomukhasana, full expression of Gomukhasana. But we've got a couple different variations here, and we're grounding through those sits bones. You should feel a nice stretch on either side of the hips, but especially on the leg that's on top. I'm feeling both, honestly. I'm feeling both. So we can stay upright, or you can walk your hands forward a little. Ooh, you don't need to go far to feel quite a deep stretch. So just find your pose. Again, you can straighten out that left leg if this is too much, and simply hold it. It's mentioned again and again how we hold things in our bodies. And they say especially the hip area. I believe that's because that's where we tend to clench when we're uncomfortable. If you notice any confusing emotions coming up or intense emotions coming up, just use the breath, let it out. This is a safe space to do so. And exactly what your body needs. In this deep stretch, scan the rest of your body, pull it away from the hips, and notice how you're holding yourself. Have you begun to clench the fingers, the toes? Have you begun to clench in the shoulders, in the face at all? Just notice and let it go when you do. We want to hold these positions as comfortably as we can, and also bring that practice in our life to show up in life more comfortably, not holding as much energy in our bodies, or not releasing as much energy from our bodies. about a minute more. Let's take one more deep breath in. And as we exhale, slowly come back up, release, leaning back, unwinding the legs. Ooh. And again, letting them fall left and right. Slowly stretching out your legs, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we'll straighten that right leg, cross the left leg over, holding that left leg in. And we can start here, decide for ourselves if we'd like to go a little deeper. If so, we can bend that right leg, see how that feels. If that also feels good, we can begin the stacking and finding our Gomukhasana. Grounding through those sits bones will really change this pose and allow you to access that deep stretch. Ooh. And when you're ready, you can fold over and release. You can sit up straight if that is good for you. For me, it is today. Once again, we bring attention to the whole body, doing that body scan, releasing the fingers and toes. And you might have already started to notice a pattern in yourself of where you tend to hold and where you should be releasing. We'll be here for about a minute more. Take one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, begin coming out of this position. Lean back, unwinding your legs. Ooh. And letting them fall again. Ooh, left and right. Take time, be gentle. It's a deep stretch. Wonderful. And from there, we're going to keep the right leg forward. Bend the left leg back and beside your body. And slowly lower yourself onto your elbows. You should feel a nice stretch in your low back here. If the elbows is too much, maybe stay on your forearms. I'm trying to think if there's a way to get you halfway. I think it's the forearms or lower. In your own time, it might help to, if you had a block or some books, to lower yourself on the books. But for those of you that can, you can come to your forearms for now. Wonderful. And we'll just keep our head stacked over our chest here. Releasing in the low back area. Lift yourself up as you breathe in, stretching out the left leg, bending the right leg. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, lower back down. And you'll feel the other side of that low back getting that stretch. Keep your head stacked over your chest here. And try not to collapse in the shoulders, but hold yourself up. Often we collapse, but keep yourself erect. And you can stay here, or for one last modification, you can breathe in coming up, bending both legs and lowering yourself down. Some people have the flexibility, some people don't. You can keep your toes pointed with your feet facing down. That may help. But for some people, that's too much of a stretch on the feet. And if you're able, you could even lie down. And I find this is a really nice stretch in bed, and the mattress, because it gives you some more room, makes it a lot easier. If this is too much for you, you can simply wait in a cross-legged position or in a shavasana position and jump into the next pose. Are most people not in this position? Yeah. Okay. So let's move out of this position, and we'll come back into a child's pose here. Knees together, feet together, hips to heels, hands on your fists or forehead right down to the mat. And you can have your hands out in front of you or sweep them behind you, resting beside your feet, palms facing up. And release the shoulders down towards the mat. And I'm just checking the time here. Wonderful. Take one more deep breath in and push yourself up and out of this position. Moving your legs to one side and lowering yourself down onto your back with your knees bent. Bend your knees enough so that your heels are right below your bottom. You might be able to graze them with your fingertips here. We're gonna flow through some bridge poses. Just open up the chest a little bit. As we're breathing into bridge pose, I want you to imagine some blocks between your legs. We don't want to let our knees fall left to right. As well, we'll have our hands on either side of our hips, palms facing down. And make sure that your chin is open towards the ceiling. A lot of us draw our chin towards our chest, but we want to open it up. And we'll just breathe in to lift up and breathe out to lower. And we can begin now. Breathe in to lift. Hips up to the ceiling. Breathe out to lower down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Slowly, with control, breathe in to lift. Breathe out to lower, giving your spine a nice massage. Breathing in to lift. Opening up that chin. Breathing out to lower. And one more time, breathing in to lift. And breathing out to lower. Wonderful. We'll cross our left ankle just above our right knee. Interlace your hands behind that right thigh or in front of the right shin, giving that left glute a nice massage again. So interlace behind that right thigh. So you can take your hand through your legs behind that right thigh, yeah. And draw the legs towards you for a deeper stretch. You can even use that left elbow to press against that left knee. And breathe here. Even though we're drawing our legs towards us, what other body parts are we clenching or holding that we can let go? Can we allow the stretch in that left glute a little more? We don't want to hold, we want to allow the stretches. And breathe here. I don't know about you, but my hips are really tight today. So these leg stretches have been really good. You can find some subtle movement rocking left and right in the hips here.
Almost making little circles with the low back, very subtle movements. Take one more full breath. And as you exhale, release, uncrossing the legs, and then crossing the right leg, the right ankle, just above the left knee. Interlacing your hands behind that left thigh or in front of the left shin. And we can use that right elbow to press against the right knee, opening it up a little bit more. And you can draw your legs towards your chest to make that stretch a little more intense in the right glute. And sigh it out, releasing into the ground here. Can you release tension in your face at all, in your shoulders, in your feet? You can find some subtle movement again, moving left and right, maybe making little circles with the low back. And then we'll release, exhaling, letting go. You can let your knees fall left to right, giving your low back, your glutes a nice massage. And slowly begin to extend out your legs, setting up for our final resting pose, Shavasana. In Shavasana, you can open up your legs as wide as the mat if that feels good. Have your hands by your hips, palms facing up or down, maybe hands on your belly, maybe one on the chest, one on the heart. One on the belly, one over the heart. Press your head into the ground here, lifting your chest, rolling your shoulders down and back, and releasing back down, flush with the mat. Take a deep breath in and sigh it out, releasing into the arms of the earth, releasing your body weight into gravity. You can smile here, thanking yourself for showing up, for putting your best foot forward with this yoga. The hard part is over. You can return to your natural breath and just let your body weight and gravity do the work. We'll be here for a couple minutes. I'll mind the time. If your mind wanders, like mine just did, bring it back again to the breath. Remind yourself that you are exactly where you need to be. Anything else can wait. This time is important and will only allow you to show up for the rest of your day and life with more presence, awareness, and purpose. You can begin wiggling your fingers and your toes. Reach your arms up over your head, full body stretch, knees into your chest and roll to one side. Slowly, lovingly lifting yourself back up into that seated position. Ending where we began, but we feel very different, and that is the magic of yoga. We can bring our hands together in front of our forehead, and we'll end with 3 chants of Om. Breathe in together. Om. And even if you're not getting that Om octave, that vibration in your body is really soothing and calming for the nervous system. Let's take another breath in together. Breathe in. Namaste.
Namaste.
And Namaste is simply the highest version of me acknowledging that in you. Thank you so much.